The attack on Tirpitz, charges placed, the retreat, and the explosions that shook the world. The fate of Germany's most feared battleship would be decided not by a fleet, not by bombers, not by torpedoes, but by 6 men, crawling beneath 42,000 tons of steel in the dark waters of a Norwegian fjord. This is the moment when one of the most dangerous covert operations of World War II reached its climax. The charges are set. Minutes to live. Inside the freezing water, the X-craft crews worked silently and blindly, their fingers numb, their bodies shaking from exhaustion and cold. The stopwatch was ticking. They had trained for this moment for over a year, placing 2 gigantic explosive charges, each containing over 2,000 pounds of amytol, directly beneath the keel of the Tirpitz. The divers secured the charges to the seabed anchors, locking them in place under the battleship's belly, the most vulnerable part of any warship. Nothing could go wrong now. They had minutes to get out. Commander Place of X7 whispered, "This is it. Back to the surface." But surfacing meant rising right next to the most heavily guarded battleship in the world. They knew the Germans might be waiting. Bars of discovery, searchlights, boats, panic. As the midget submarines attempted to escape, the Germans finally realized something was terribly wrong. Sonar operators detected strange shapes under the hull. Lookouts spotted bubbles. Searchlights swept the water. Within seconds, alarms erupted across the fjord. "Unterwasser alarm! Unterwasser alarm!" Small patrol boats roared toward the disturbance. Riflemen lined the rails. Depth charges were prepared. The fjord exploded with chaos. X7 tried to slip away but became tangled in the Tirpitz's anti-torpedo nets. X6, battered and heavily damaged, could no longer dive properly. The crews knew they were trapped. Yet, even as they surfaced and were captured, their mission was complete. The charges were ticking, and nothing could stop what would soon come. See, aboard the Tirpitz, confusion and denial. On the battleship, officers struggled to understand the threat. Some believed it was sabotage. Some thought animals had triggered the nets. Others feared British torpedo bombers might be coming. The captain demanded answers. Divers inspected the nets. Patrol boats circled in panic. Machine guns fired into the water at shadows. But no one expected that 2 enormous explosive charges were already lying silently beneath them, set to detonate within minutes. The detonation, the mountain shakes. At exactly 8:12 a.m., the first charge exploded. A colossal column of water blasted upward beneath the Tirpitz's center section. Steel plates screamed, bulkheads buckled. The ship lurched violently, as if struck by a massive underwater hammer. Seconds later, the second charge detonated. The entire fjord roared. Shockwaves slammed into the surrounding mountains, echoing for miles. Inside the ship, men were thrown off their feet. Instruments shattered. Engines tore from their mountings. Electrical systems failed. The Tirpitz, the mighty pride of the Kriegsmarine, shuddered, groaned, and began to sink deeper into the fjord, her internal structure ripped apart. German sailors later said, "It felt like the ship tried to break herself in half." There's damage beyond repair. Tirpitz maimed. Though the battleship did not capsize that day, the damage was catastrophic. The keel was cracked. Engine rooms flooded. Fuel lines ruptured. Power systems destroyed. Propeller shafts dislodged. Turrets jammed. Structural integrity compromised. It would take 6 months for repairs, and even then, the Tirpitz would never regain full strength. She was no longer a threat to Atlantic convoys. Hitler demanded her return to Germany. Engineers insisted, impossible. The battleship that once terrified the Royal Navy was now reduced to a floating gun platform, chained to a fjord. And it was all because 6 men succeeded where fleets had failed. Aftermath, capture, and honor. The surviving British crews were interrogated, then imprisoned. They had no illusions about their fate. They thought they would be executed. But surprisingly, German officers were impressed, even shocked, by the audacity of the attack. One Kriegsmarine commander reportedly told them, "It was the bravest act of the war." 4 ex-craft sailors were later awarded the Victoria Cross, Britain's highest military honor,